Here we go with this fucking buffering shite again. What is going on? Sorry about that. Issues with the makeup team, you know. What's that? Caught again, telling lies. You know I don't need a makeup crew. So, right and about it, shall we? I'll keep it very, very short. I deny the globe. The globe is a mathematical concept. It has no relevance in actual reality, no measurability, no demonstrations. Utter rubbish. End of story. So anyhow, I'm continually being told that I should focus on other aspects because there's much more important things than, you know, discussing or pursuing the dimensions of the earth, apparently. Although when I try to reason with some people about this, they seem to have nothing to offer. So I thought, well, you know, I'll bring up some of the points. So, I mean, right off the bat today, I had a brief encounter with someone who says that, you know, they were a bit disheartened. They thought, oh, it's the flat earth thing, and oh, I know it is, but it's not what's going to happen. I mean, first and foremost, we have to get rid of evil. We'll come back to that in a minute. So my next question was, what do you mean by evil? The response was then, well, the Muslims. Excuse me? Yes. Apparently, there's much more relevant and important things in some people's minds. So the first offering this evening is Muslims. Muslims are evil. This is what the feedback I'm getting in the real world, actual interactions. So I'm trying to get my mind around it. What I have to make of that. So I'll come back to it in a wee second, but that's just kind of some of the stuff that I think people maybe want to discuss. So right off the bat, first up there, we've got Muslims are evil and something needs to be done about it. Okay. So do not be scared to offer up any of the relevancies that you think are important. And that people like me, because, you know, you've got expectancy of me, I am somebody that should be representing you in all the other topics that anybody thinks is relevant. So, I'm offering myself up. The platform is yours. Come here, tell us all about how you hate fucking Muslims, or whatever else you think's relevant. I'm dying to hear it, because so far, I have to deal with evil, and that evil has been offered up as Muslims. Or, to put it properly, the word that was actually used was Musrats. See, this is the irony of people. They talk about these things. There's much more important issues. Evil must be eradicated. And then the next statement that comes out of their mouth is Muslims must be dealt with. I look on in disbelief, scratching head. Eh? This is what we've got to deal with. So, I think this will be fun this evening. Hello, everybody. Steve, I know he's all dying to throw stuff at me. He's all dying for me to talk about relevant topics that are much more important than where we actually are. We'll try and resolve all that back right enough, because he's a talking shite as far as I'm concerned. Because by saying stuff like that, you don't really get it. But I'll explain myself later. Hello everybody. I'm going to come back to the very first offering of Muslims are evil, and we're going to get through that. Tony Dixon, hello there, Mr. Teddy Bear, and Jesty's Red. I hope you're not disappointed that there's no extravagant fucking jumper on this evening. I know that maybe that had some pull or push. Shouldn't use that word, should I? George Anderson, current, I think, is the prime mover. Can we just wait till I'm on that? You know, I will give you the cue when you have to offer me up your relevancies, your important issues. I'm saying hello right now. Selling Elling, hello. David Holsworth, Dorian. P900 Cool Picks, Party Pack, how do? Boom Me, Martin Allen, hello. Matthew C4, Sammy Shaw, Sky's the Limit, Tom Corner. JT The Game. George Anderson, Augustus Plaza. T-Bone. Stuart Lundy, hello. Plain Ranger, how you doing? Oh, the Woodburner's dying down, I'm a wee bit sweaty. Bloody Stickler Motor, FPV Angel, TP in a tree, Nikon FX, Titarian, Gary Kerr, hello. Philip DeBoever, Dorian Gray, Pied Piper, Tam Reed, Steve HV, how you doing? Jacqua, Andrew, how you doing? Monty, Spirit of Longthorn, how you doing? Yes, we are. Maggie M, hello. Richard Buck, Taboo Conspiracy 2, hello. Triple M, XP, Jack Stander. Hello everybody, hello all. So, the format for this evening is you send me an email with either something that you think is more relevant or relevant that you think should be addressed. You can do that by sending me an email and coming on, or you can send me an email with addressing whatever it is you think, or you can put it in the chat, whatever. You know, I'm opening myself up to all this relevant and important stuff that's much more relevant and important than us establishing where we actually are. So, the first thing I'm going to deal with is Muslims are evil. No, we have to sort out evil first and foremost. And then when asked for specific examples of what is evil, I was told the Muslims. Let's just get through the process here. Right, we'll go with what we'll try and establish some sort of reasoning here, right? Try and get to the root of people's reasoning. So we'll go with what the majority of the normie would probably do, and they would go for definitions and understandings from Google. So let's start there, shall we? Evil. Profoundly immoral and wicked. Profound immorality and wickedness, especially when regarded as a supernatural force. So we've got a definition there of the word evil. Profoundly immoral and wicked. So next we need moral meaning. Concerned with the principles of right and wrong behaviour. Holding or manifesting high principles for proper conduct. So let's have a look at that, shall we? Concerned with the principles of right and wrong behaviour. How do we get to the bottom of that? How do we dig deeper into that? Concerned with the principles of right and wrong behaviour. What does that mean? What are we talking about when we say right and wrong behaviour? Who defines that? Where does that definition come from? As I've said before, and right away we touch on the aspects of a lot of the issues that I see in regards to living in communes or societies, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is when we start to bring subjectivity into the public domain or arena and trying and place relevance upon it. The problem is people come from all different circumstances, different walks of life, people of a different essence, if you like. So when we start that, for me, right away, we're on very shaky ground. For me, as I've stated so many times, subjectivity is a personal thing. It's a private thing. Your subjective principles, morals, ethics, beliefs, whatever you want, they belong to you. And as long as they're kept private with you, or to those that you share of your ilk or whatever, then that's fine. As soon as we start trying to superimpose that over the whole as a rule of thumb, I think it gets very messy, very quickly. So how do we establish right and wrong behaviour? Where does that come from? Because true morality right and wrong, for me, would have to be something that transcends us, transcends this place, our lives. A rule, an overseeing rule that's given as an aspect of the experience of life. A rule, if you like. Does any of that exist? Were you and I born with markings on us, a rule book shoved up your ass? I wasn't. Were you? So I can go from a subjective position of reflection of my circumstances, my experiences, and I can build up an ethics, morality, if you like, based on internal self-reflection on what I align with, what I like and what I don't like, blah, blah, blah. But do I then have the right to superimpose that over everybody as right, correct or wrong behaviour? No, I bloody well don't. I'll give you an example. And I've probably used this before, but take this as an example. Somebody's walking down the street. Somebody's walking down the street with some shopping, some food, whatever, you know, some groceries. And from behind, and we'll use a Muslim if you like in this case, somebody who identifies with a particular religious sect, we'll call them Muslims, approaches the person from behind, smashes them over the head with a hammer, and relieves them of their groceries. Now, I'm pretty sure the majority of people are going to look at that scenario and say, that's immoral, that's unethical, that's bloody well wrong. Something should be done about that. Correct? Let's take the same scenario and put it in a different set of circumstances. We're out in the wilderness. There is no social construct. There is no Safeways, supermarkets, shops. There is no produce. There's scarcity. Human beings are starving. There's nothing to eat. Person's walking down the street again with the messages, some groceries, and another human being, maybe a Muslim, who has a couple of children, a wife, sees this opportunity, decides to smack him over the head and relieve him of the groceries so that he can fill his belly and that of his loved ones. Is that no survival? What do we say when the lion decides it's going to slaughter the gazelle? Oh, it's beautiful, it's Mother Nature. It's just the way it is, it's wonderful. Well, in the very same circumstances, you would have to say the same about the Muslim person and the circumstances that they're in, attacking the person with the groceries. Would you not? See, this is what I'm saying about how it gets kind of murky. Right? Because the problem here is that nobody really knows right and wrong, if there even is a transcendent, rule of moral ethics, right, wrong behaviour, or if we're just in here, clueless, making it all up. I know that's not a key issue on people's minds in regards to some of these religious practices, but what I'm talking about and addressing right now is morality. And who defines it, and where do we get it? Were you born with it? Some people believe you're born with that. But again, in the right given circumstances, a child is born into a particular set of circumstances where it's constantly striving for survival. How do you view that then, if that child assaults somebody to relieve them of food? Is the child immoral? Is the child wrong? Questions? What do we think so far, people? Well, circumstances JD can make that theory bollocks, as I've just highlighted. Shell still knows that it is wrong, does it? How did you establish that, Sammy Shaw? I'm only asking questions. I'm not stating anything as an affirmative claim or any of that stuff here. I'm just offering up, questions that I have in regards to some of these claims that are put to us yet again. But as I say, my subjectivity, my internal reflection, I conduct myself in a particular way because of self-reflection. I remember being a very small child and throwing a frog in front of a car and watching it getting squished, just out of curiosity. I never had any clue of whether it was right or wrong, but once it happened and I had the ability to reflect on my actions, I then made decisions on those actions. But I never had any inclination before I done the act. But again, I can only talk from my subjective experience and who I am. So because I reflected on that, I made the decision that was wrong and I would never partake in it again. I should then go into the world and try and superimpose that over everybody. This is where I start to see the problems. This is why I'm asking these questions. If you use an entertainment for a person in my standings, you got a faceless potato in the fucking chat. Whatever, where you go, pretentious cocksniffer. You'll know anybody. What's the matter, Reese? I'm trying to talk about other issues here. And everybody just wants to talk about dimensions of the earth. I mean, what's the matter, Reese? There's much more relevant things to talk about. I mean, we've got a Muslim issue apparently that we need to sort out here. Keep going, 5 years and you've done plenty of ripping the piss out of people like you. Bye. Tony Malloy, beyond the magic curve, what do you think about Nicholas Schreck denouncing Anton LaVey and his ideas of Satanism? No idea about it at all, Tony Malloy. I don't know anything about that. I don't keep up with it or anything. I'm no part of anybody's sect or wee cults or any of that stuff, so I would not know about any of that stuff. Can you give me any specifics? Something that I can put my attention to? For people that don't know, Nicholas Schreck was part of the philosophy or movement of, Anton LaVey and his Satanic Bible, Church of Satan, stuff from the 60s. And I think he was partner to Zena LaVey, who was Anton LaVey's daughter. But I don't know anything about that. I know that a couple of the daughters, I think Zena and another one, removed themselves from it as well, but as I say, that's the problem, when people have these philosophical ideas or notions or whatever, and they start to go about creating cults and sects and trying to superimpose it over the masses and yada yada. I don't agree with any of that. Again, I don't even know if it's a good idea that we live like that at all. Spoke about that before. A clan type scenario, fair enough, that being family, tight-knit, close family network, looking out for each other and doing what has to be done in order to alleviate stress, pain and suffering. As soon as we start trying to branch that into the whole and, bring it into the public domain as some sort of rule that's got to be imposed over every fucker, I just don't get that. That's tyranny, that's, something wrong with you. You want to dominate the world. You're that terrified of diversity and difference that you need to somehow superimpose yourself over it so you can feel secure. Again, maybe that's the game. This is back to the problem again. We really don't know what this game's about. Again, it's the irony, the hypocrisy of, you know, a lot of this modern day push of cosmology, Big Bang, happenstance, chance happenings, and yet we've got systems of morality and ethics in place, like judicial systems that are apparently, you know, a moralistic, ethical code, right? You get people fucking swearing in Bibles and all this stuff, you know, because they need something, some idea or concept that transcends us so that they can pull everybody into a certain code of conduct and behaviour. It's just all a farce. A total farce. Who has any right to try and impose justice or anything over anybody? We need the police force. The police force is a good thing because they save you. Again, this is the ridiculous stuff that people come out with. And you have to point out the obvious to them. The police don't prevent any fucking thing from happening. The bastards show up after the fact. If somebody's going to do something bad to you, it's going to happen. You can take solace or false security in the idea that you think you've got safety and security because your police force and the military and the governments and whoever else you think's out there to fucking save you. And then in reality, they're just going to show up after it. A wee investigation. Try and superimpose their moral code of justice and run about trying to catch the fucker that done the bad to you. So that they can lock them up in a wee box at everybody else's expense, so you can sit and feel all proud and justified and good about it or something. Anyway, I digress. I forget where I was going. Aye, morals not that. Well, can you give better address to Mark Sargent on daytime TV? I spoke about it last night. I thought I broke it down as much as I could. Is there something I missed, Brandon? If there's something you think I missed, please let me know. So am I just talking to myself here? Or, you know, is anybody got anything to offer? Where do you think morality comes from? Because remember, this started off as a statement that we need to get rid of evil first before we find out where we are. So how do we define evil? What does evil mean to you? Can I get some feedback, please? What does evil mean to you? I'm not going to say anything else till I get fucking answers. Social construct of no harm or oppression, Gavin Fly. Yeah, that could be looked at by some people as, you know, evil, like in a scenario I just gave a minute ago. But is it evil? Do we understand the circumstances? What do we call crimes these days? You know, harm to another, that's real crime. So you're either robbing somebody, raping them, murdering them, blah blah blah. What circumstances brings these events about? Because that's always the problem. We never go deeper into the real circumstances that we're part of here and how all these behaviours are driven by circumstance. So what happens is that people see the act and that they're told to point and hate at the act, and then that act is then, you know, processed through a judicial system and locked up in a wee cage, and people go, yay, we're good. Does that ever get to the root of the issue? How did that person end up in the circumstances to commit the act in the first place? And again, the hypocrisy of the Big Bang, nonsensical accident chance happenings and New Age atheist type ideologies being pushed forward, that we came from nothing and nowhere, there is no morality or ethics, there's no even fucking consciousness, it's just an illusion, you're just an automaton of bumping particles, and your behaviours are dictated by processes unbeknownst to you, the observer. So therefore, there is no accountability. If you follow that fully, that type of worldview, that means there can be no accountability to anybody. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Under the rules of evolution type theories and stories, you are just a product of random mutations acted upon by natural selection. Bumping particles, making stuff happen. And you're not really, your consciousness isn't really a thing. There's not a person in there per se. There's nothing to hold accountable. But yet, we do have systems where we try and hold accountability. So these people are kind of self-defeating, they know. And again, these are the very people who are want to tell you that they understand the universe. They don't have a consciousness, apparently. But evolution somehow jiggery poked their genetic makeup to impart wisdom and knowledge into them about the universe and what happened 4.5 billion years ago. I know I'm meandering, but I can't help it. The world right now is so full of fucking contradictions. Stupidity. Anyhow, I went off track. We'll get back to it. Did I get any responses? What is evil? So far we've got harm to others. But again, in the right given set of circumstances, the person that the harm was done to may feel as if evil happened to them. But the person that robbed them feels satisfied because they fed their hungry children. Just like the hungry lion murders the gazelle in order to feed itself and its hungry children. Is it an evil act? Lying is evil. Yes, I would term that as, although we don't have a real proper definition of evil, but I think lying is to our detriment because it creates a haze. Confusion can come about because there's no clarity of communication and understanding. And for human beings, we don't operate too well with lies. So I agree with that from my point of view. Not that I'm stating that that's a given as a whole. From me personally, again, I can only speak for me. I conduct myself for me, by me, and I apply myself in my walk in my real life based on my internal reflections and what I decide and choose to partake in. But again, I do not know how I would react and behave in any given set of circumstances. So we can't talk from the whole spectrum because none of us have lived the full spectrum of every possible set of circumstance. What I'm trying to highlight here is how thin, paper thin, some of this talk on morality, ethics really is. Again, when I say that last night to Trackmatic, I can see a benefit in something like religion because religion offers that opportunity to transcend us. And if we're living as societies grouped together, then in order to have some sort of order where it wasn't just chaotic all the time, I could see the necessity to try and impose something like that. Not that I agree with it in any way, shape or form, but I can understand why that would be done. Because if you want to rule over people, you need to give them some kind of inclination that you're on a higher level to them, that you're connected to something higher and above. So, God said, and look, this wee guy with the smoke coming out the chimney who's been elected by mysterious forces, he's God's right-hand man. He said so. So therefore, you will behave. Just an idea. That's what it is. Again, human beings do not know why they're alive. They don't know where they are, how it came to be, their place within it, their purpose, if any purpose other than experience. They have no clue to any of these things. Now, when you don't have the answers to any of these things, how can you superimpose or dictate some sort of overhanging fucking morality and ethics, code of conduct, rules of life? How are you getting any of that? You're just pulling it out of fucking thin air. Which is always my point. So, I understand my self-reflection, how I conduct myself, and that's my business. Your business is your business, his and hers business is their business. Don't try and bring it into my public presence. I can self-reflect so far. I can reflect on my circumstances, my experiences. I can unravel some of the mysteries and the confusions of that, and I can have clarity. Then I get to a point of, I now have nothing else to reflect upon to further my understanding of the bigger questions. Where the fuck am I? What is this bastard thing called life? How did I get here? What's it all about? I can go back to the world of society and peoples, read their literatures, their philosophies, their fucking word salads, their concepts, their ideas, until I'm fucking blue in the face. Which I have done. And it gets me bastard and well nowhere. So, well, back to looking in the middle of the room at everybody's nonsense, trying to find a semblance of objective truth about our existence from the concepts and ideas of bewildered human beings. And I'm saying, stop all that. Let's find out what this machine is. Let's see the workings of it. How far does it extend? What does it consist of? Where does a construct stop if it does stop? What's beyond it? What's the mechanisms of outside it? What's it a part of? What's the bigger fucking picture? So that I can maybe get a clearer picture of what I'm actually a part of here. I'm wrong. I have to go back into the melting pot of fucking delirious, delusional gibberish. And I have to sift through that till I fucking die. Or just select one and go, do you know what, that seems kind of alright. Fuck it, I'll just put that in, right, that's life now. I know. Fuck trying to find out where I am. What I need to do is, I need to realise that these Muslim guys are a fucking threat to me, somehow. And that's going to bring me closer to the bigger picture of what I'm a part of, apparently. Or I'll have to go round in circles till I'm blue in the face about 9/11. Or I'll have to go round in circles till I'm blue in the face about the Freemasons. Or whatever else you're going to fucking throw at me. And I'm going to ask you the fucking question, which I never get any specifics of. What is the fucking relevance to me and my situation, my predicament at this very moment in time? And I never get a fucking articulated response with specifics that I can reason with and come to an understanding. I just get impulsive rubbish spewing out of the minds of idiotic morons that don't fucking understand the predicament and the situation we're actually in. That's why I get nonsense statements like, oh, we need to eradicate the evil, and that evil is identified as Muslims. That's the shite I've got to deal with. Is a Muslim a threat to me? I'll take some responses. Is a Muslim a threat to me? First and foremost, is a Muslim evil, and are they a threat to me? I think people miss the point. Ideologies, concepts are offered up there to people. It's the ideologies and the concepts that have influence over people. So again, we're back to people not understanding the faculties of their own being, how their fucking mind works, how their processes work, being able to identify where they're placing relevance, why they're attaching to certain things, why they're making certain ideologies and concepts relevant and important to them. I know why. It's because they're bewildered. They don't have a fucking clue what's going on, and they're just looking for anything to give them certainty. So we're right back to the root again. They don't fucking know what's happening. They're born into cultures, systems of control, cultures, family units, and all this drivel is passed down onto them, and they don't know anything else. So just take it all on board, and then they start self-identifying. This is who I am. I am part of this thing. My place is here within this concept. Now I'm going to go into the world and shout and scream about it and fight everybody so I can prove how loyal I am to my fucking idea. Cutting edge. We are the cutting edge of human development. Well, that's it, Jacqua. Ideas and concepts, codes of conduct, all this stuff being imposed is dangerous. And it's even more dangerous when people don't understand the workings of their own mind. How they're influenced, how they become susceptible to ideas and concepts, and how they take them on board. Align themselves with it, integrate it into their own being. But again, for me, that's the bigger picture here, the bigger issue, is because they don't know this machinery. Oops. Steve HV, you agree? Angry guy. Do you care that Europe is being invaded by foreigners? Right, I get it in the aspect of if I have my wee area where I'm looking after my family and somebody wants to come in that and try and take whatever they can, I'm going to defend that. Right? But why are these foreigners coming in? Why are the foreigners coming in? And are they attacking you? Are they imposing themselves on you? How did the circumstances come to be? What do you mean by foreigners? Are we now back to arbitrary, imaginary lines on bits of dirt? Back to the compartmentalisation aspects. Huh? I'm Scottish and I am proud. I come from this bit of dirt. And I hate the bastards there, beyond that imaginary line, that live on that bit of dirt, who are just like me. They want to live stress-free. They want to live in love. They want to share intimacy and respect and joy, creativity with those that they love and those that they align with. It's this generalising that particular groups of people are all evil bastards because they have a different subjective idea or concept that they align with. As I said before, as long as they're not coming and trying to stamp it on me, I couldn't give a fuck. You get people that talk about, they're doing stuff in the education system. You mean, well, we're back to another issue again here. We're back to the issue again of why are human beings taking their young, their cubs, their children, and going, here, going to look after that for me for 8 hours a day. I'll sign this wee registration thing, which actually means I'm agreeing to play your game. I'm signing a contract to say, I'm going to play your game. I relinquish responsibility for my children and place them in your hands for you to bombard their wee brains with whatever you like. And then you get these very same people coming along and fucking whining and moaning about it. The education system's talking about transgenders. The education system's talking about Muslims. The education system's talking about... Why the fuck are you giving your children to them? Well, because I need to go and work and I need to... Do you? Who's making you do that? There's no any other options, nah. See all this, do you not care that Europe's been invaded by foreigners? Well, at the same time, these people that went to the education systems here were all proud. Oh, the sun never sets on the British Empire, which fucking means that a bunch of greedy, nosy bastards from this patch of fucking manky dirt went away over fucking sticking their nose into other people's business. Fucking them right up. So, I think you better wind your fucking neck in when you start saying how you're not concerned about Europeans invading. Again, what's the circumstances? How did these people end up in that situation in the first place? Because I can fucking guarantee you, see if a bunch of dick sniffers with fucking guns and bombs and all sorts of stuff came here and started throwing it at you and shooting your fucking children and blowing your fucking house up, you would try and get as far away from it as you possibly could. Because again, the majority of people, as far as I'm concerned, want to live stress-free. Have intimacy, be creative, live and let live. We've got a minority that pump out all this fucking propaganda and pish. And the apathy of the fucking masses allow it to happen. And then you get idiotic statements like that. I tell you what, I don't hate anybody. If I waste my time in hate, I'm never going to learn anything. There's a reason for everything, as far as I'm concerned. Circumstances that bring things about. And that's where my concern goes. That's where my questioning goes. I'm not just influenced by propaganda on the surface. Then run about regurgitating the propaganda. I keep asking the questions until I break the whole fucking thing. I don't know, even Baldy Cats is again, what would that say about me if I was actually spending my time hating any of these people? How empty, how insecure and dangerous would I be? see, I've heard some stories of wisdom, of peoples who can identify what we'll call it evil, right? And here, I'll offer this up to you as aspects of evil and how I identify it, because I can see the destructive aspect of it. There's a wee story that was told to me, and I can't remember who it was. It may have been somebody here or somebody that came to visit me. And it was in regards to Eskimo. I don't even know if it was Euricus, Vaticus. I can't remember if that was one of the discussions we had. And it was a story about Eskimos or Inuits, whatever. And the story goes that, some white guy, some European or whatever, goes to spend time with these people. And part of the way of life is that they go fishing every day. Right? So this guy goes out with the peoples, the clan, to do a bit of fishing. Right? Because that's their stress. The stress that they have is, how many fish am I going to get today? Are we going to get enough fish to feed everybody? Right? So this guy goes out with them. Doesn't catch anything. Then when he comes back, they come back. When he gets washed up, he goes back to his wee settlement, his wee igloo or whatever it is, his hut. And when he walks in, he discovers a fish. Now immediately that person goes, oh, somebody's gave me a fish, and goes back out into the community to find who it was that gave him the fish. Now one of the clan members asks the question, why are you looking for the person who gave you the fish? The response is, because I want to thank them, I want to thank them. And they were met with, whoa, we don't operate on that. We do not place relevance upon any of that stuff. Tomorrow, I catch no fish, you catch fish. We share. Because right there and then, that wisdom identifies the creation of hierarchy that feeds narcissism, that feeds the false ego. Because what happens from there? What starts to happen? Somebody's getting lavished with praise because they caught 6 fish, everybody else only caught 1. What starts to happen to that individual? The false ego starts to take over. They start elevating themselves, starting to believe that they are something more than the others. Right there and then, corruption takes hold. So for me, evil comes in very subtle forms that people overlook all the time. I've been irrational, I've partaken in hate, perfection. Times in my life where I thought I've hated things, when what I really had to understand is that I just was too fucking lazy, or whatever reason, to actually analyse it properly and understand it. Because I was too full of my own self-importance, my own victimhood, and I wanted to lash out at everything else and blame everything else, until I realised that the power lies at my feet. I don't need to take anything on board. I'm the boss of what comes in. I hate the weather. You're right there, Ute. Spot on. I fucking detest the bastard. One day since the 1st of January, one day has it not rained from I get out of my bed till I went back to my bed. One fucking day. Pissing down constantly. I checked the weather. Pissing down for 2 weeks. Pissing down constantly. Every fucking day they're calling it a different fucking name. Oh, it's Storm Kira, Storm Dennis, it's just fucking Scotland. Or whatever else is going on. Because this was never like this in my childhood. You had the days where you knew it was going to be raining all day and you were resigned to it and it was fine because you knew good 90% chance the next day you would get the opportunity to get back out and kick the ball about. No, it's just unrelenting, fucking torrential rain every bastard day, every minute. See, look, you unleashed the hate in me there. I can't help myself. As I say, if I could get a hold of it, if I could personalise the weather, make it a thing, a person, I would torture the bastard for eternity. So, anywho, so where were we? Again, fucking morality and all that stuff. But these become issues, you know, when we start to have corruption and, you know, orders imposed over us. And the very clansmanship that I was talking about earlier broken apart, and the narcissism being fed, you know, and you see how it's done. You get this bollocks nonsense of proud slavery. Oh, you don't contribute. Yeah, I'm a proud slave, I contribute. Yeah, well, let's have a look at that then, shall we? You get up at your fucking bed at 6 in the morning, you go out and you do something that's of no benefit to you whatsoever. Then you come back at 5, 6 o'clock at night. Can't be fucked with anything. Eat your dinner, get a wash, sit in front of the fucking telly like a zombie for an hour, go to your fucking bed and repeat again. Meanwhile, your children are at some place with strange people, strange circumstances, surroundings, being bombarded with fucking nonsense continually so that they'll fall into the same miserable existence as you will, and you're running about championing it. I forget where I was going with that. Okay. So that's what people call a life and their contribution. And I ask the question, contribute to fucking what? Does your contribution allow you to spend more time with your family? Does your contribution allow you and free you to be creative, to explore yourself inner and outer, to explore your environment? No, it fucking does not. It restricts you even fucking more. And everybody's chasing this narcissistic pipe dream of fucking being a millionaire and running about lauding it up over the others. The majority of good people are suffering seriously from fucking Stockholm Syndrome. It's a minority's idea that's been imposed and sold to you as if it's a fucking good idea. And through that process, people have become victims of Stockholm Syndrome. And they run about championing it. That's life. That should be life, is this? This is life. This is what we do. This is a way of it, you know? Where are you getting that? Well, it's life. So you get people that run about saying, we need to focus on evil, we need to focus on the Muslims. Well, they're living a life that I've just described. Chasing money every day, away from the people that they say they care and love about, their very own children. And they justify it to themselves because the system gives them an excuse. Because the system tells them that if you do that, that means you're a good person. And that's all they need. A trigger point. Authority says it means I'm good, so therefore I can justify it and continually pursue it and champion myself that I'm a good dude. Fucking spot on. Now, my kids are annoying as well. That's what kids are like though. But that doesn't mean to say I want to give them to the fucking state to be brainwashed for 8 hours a day. That's why I've got a shed. Same here, Daniel Pratt. That's all they need though, Ricky Zwakis. If they can get an authority to validate them. And you can't even have a discussion with them, because they just think they're on the upper ground, that they're standing firm on some superiority. Wilder Scotland, there's a lot of weirdos in the flat earth movement that hate you, Del. I said in a post on Facebook, do you not think Del from Beyond the Magic Club would be better going on this morning than Mark Shaw? It's not just in the flat earth movement. There's weirdos everywhere. People can hate me all they like. It's irrelevant. Totally irrelevant. It would only be relevant if I was here trying to sell myself as some idol. Want to be popular, gain stature and all that fucking stuff. I'm not into the lesser magic, that's no me. I don't partake in that crap. I might just make a wee sigil tomorrow about these haters, and hopefully I can destroy them or something if I make my wee sigil. So anyhow, I'm opening up. If you want to join me, you can join me. I'll check my emails in a wee minute. But remember, I'm here because there's so much more important issues that we have to focus on. So apparently it's expected of me that I cover all. I can't just be an individual pursuing where I am and what I see as relevant and important. No. I have to abandon that, and I've apparently to take on board all the other issues that are relevant and important. You know, the sovereignty, the straw man of law. Apparently I have to focus on that as well, although I've spoken about that before. I gave an example of a real world interaction. I'm sure many people have missed it, many people have seen it, of these types of things. I've spoken about these things before. They're not going to help you. All you get is a bit of clarity of the games that are being played. But I can get clarity on manipulation, agendas, what's going on. I can see the corruption, I can see the yada yada. I can see that stuff. I can identify it. It never brings me any closer to answering the big questions. Am I a theist? What do you mean? Do I believe in a particular God type thing? No. I don't have beliefs about any of that sort of stuff. I have a deductive reasoning process where I know that things don't just appear from nowhere by chance and, happenings. Complexity, design, information. I can deduce through my reasoning processes that that's an impossibility. And I can come to the realisation that something must have given rise. Something must have put it in motion. Something, brought out the information in particular sequences in order to have what we call life right now. I just call it the prime mover. People call it God or whatever. I don't have any concept or whatever about what that actually is. And again, I've highlighted this before. The majority of people will say that they adopt that type of reasoning as well, or they just have beliefs and they believe that it's something eternal and infinite and yada yada yada. And then I highlight the obvious. You're never going to know that then. You can never know it fully, because in order for you to know it and understand that fully, you would have to be outside of it to be able to see it and understand it as a whole. Now, if you could be in that position to understand and see it as a whole thing, like there it's there, that would make it finite, because it has a geometry here, it has finite parameters. So therefore they defeat their own belief structure. You can't have a belief in something infinite and eternal and then in the very same turn think that you can reason your way to knowing it fully and knowing it fully enough so that you can be in your wee idiotic pod of life professing that you know what it is. That's fucking mentally retarded. Right, anyhow, let me open up here. So I'm still waiting for all these people to rush in and tell me what I should be focusing on. You know, veganism or meat eating or whatever, occult symbols. And I mean, what is it? Come and tell me. Alright. John McVeigh brought a very valid point up. Evil, question mark. Graham Souness. At one time in my life, John, yes, I would have identified Graham Souness as the epitome of evil. The devil incarnate, yes, at one point in my life. Again, that just shows you circumstances, point of view, different place in your life, you look at things differently. Back then, Graham Souness, wanker, evil bastard, don't like him. Yeah, I'm just like, nah, whatever. People don't know, Graham Souness was a football player, soccer player for the American faction, who played for Glasgow Rangers and managed Glasgow Rangers. I am on the other side of the dichotomy. I hated the bastard. No, I loves him. No, I loves him, hugsies and all that stuff. And John McVeigh again, how about this thought, Dale? Is there anything wrong with not knowing? Just accepting we don't know? Why do we need to know everything? Well, that's the whole thing. That's just what I was saying a minute ago, John. But right now, the power is with us that we can pursue the physicality. And we're being, prohibited from pursuing the physicality. So that's an avenue that we can, pursue and partake in. But in regards to, the bigger picture, as I've just pointed out, no, I wouldn't want to know. What would be use to me of knowing the entirety of existence, the infinite and the eternal? What would I possibly do with that? And again, it would be an impossibility. It's a self-defeating, proposition anyway, because it would have to be something finite. I think it's great that we would be part of something infinite and eternal, because there is no end to it. When you get to the end of something and you know it for what it is, you're going to get fed up. I spoke about that before when people talk about, people talk about reincarnation, and you get this aspect of, well, we don't have a memory of any previous life and whatever. Well, think about that, because why would you need or want the memory of a previous life? What use is that to you? Again, for me, that's coming from insecurity, where you're feeling the need to have certainty, like you're trying to keep track All right, well, I was at that life and knew him at this life and knew him at this life and I see that life and I remember that life previous to that and blah, blah, blah. But if you're part of the infinite spectrum and the eternal spectrum, you're never going to get to the end. So what's the point of you trying to retain all the knowledge of every experience you ever had in every life you ever lived, unless you're just always insecure and desperately seeking certainty? And again, I've highlighted that in regards to this physical experience. We are part of the effect. In order for us to know the full entirety of physical being, we would have to be outside it. So you'd have to be removed from it and out with it. So therefore, it's no use to you while you're in it. And you can't get to the... It's like being in a wee guy running about inside the PC and you're made of some component that only functions within the PC and you're trying to figure it out and going, oh, I need to know the entirety of what I'm a part of here. Well, you can't survive outside the PC. So that question's only relevant to you when you're the wee dude inside the PC. Once you're removed from the PC, you're like, oh, fuck, what was I bothering about? I should have just fucking enjoyed myself. I should have stopped taking it so fucking seriously. Taking all these ideas and concepts on about what I was supposed to behave like and how I was supposed to partake in my life. Instead of just realising it's a canvas, paint on it whatever you like, tell yourself whatever you like, it has no relevance or bearing on anything whatsoever. Just an experience. It's technology. It's just a wee shot. Paint whatever you like. Oh no, you've got to paint that. When you're in here, you have to paint this picture. This is what's expected of you, is it? All right. Oh well, you appear to be an authority, so I better start painting the picture you're telling me to paint. Oh, good point, John. Nah, Flatter, I'm not interested in you, mate. You had your opportunity last night. I'm talking about other stuff this evening, so no spanks. Frank's asking for a link, so let's see. Frank, link sent, and we've got somebody else, John McGinty. Who are we? Hi Del, how can anyone be a belief system or an ideology? Beliefs are just that, beliefs. Knowledge means it's something you know. You're so fucking right, mate. None of us has a Scooby aware of what the fuck we are. I would love a wee meet up with you, but I know you are too busy, but maybe one day. I'm a 67-year-old coffin dodging bed shitter. And I am like, hello Frank, sorry, 2 seconds, bud. I am like a pig with a turn up with this computing shit. So forgive my ramblings.
Nah, no worries, man. No worries, I was paralysed. I thought you'd fuck me right off, you know what I mean?
No. I was just in the middle of reading an email there, mate, so... Jock.
No, you were on one, I loved it. You were on one and fucking let it flow, brother, you know what I mean?
So sorry, I'm just going to say, John McGinty, Jock, give me a shout anytime, Jock, if you're run about this neck of the woods or whatever, give me a shout. I know I'm busy with the kids and whatever else, but, you know, I can always make time for a wee gab. So just give me a wee email, mate. Frank, how you doing?
Not bad, mate, how's yourself?
Alright.
Good. You're all about evil and that,
Aye.
you know. And I was born and christened into the Roman Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
Never took any notice of it. But according to the Roman Catholic Church, I was born evil. And I needed to be christened. Told me. You know, and I can do what the fuck I want after I've made me communion and been confirmed. I can go and murder someone. And as long as I go to confession, I can be absolved. Hail Mary, 10 Our Fathers. You know, I'm back in the day, you never bothered phoning the busies, but now they do, you know. But I've always said, like, my business has always been, I've dealt with people fucking digging holes, and then I spent 20 years in pubs and clubs, and I've never come across evil. I really haven't. I've come across fucking mental and psychopaths, but I've never seen evil. Evil to me is a made up fucking construct to make you shit yourself. There's no such thing. My kids weren't born with evil. That's why they weren't christened. They didn't need it. You know what I mean? Because they were not fucking evil when they were born. They didn't need to be absolved.
It's funny.
So all this is a construct that us, the same as you, I have an affinity with yourself, Del. We're on the same side. Fucking blue and green for me, Everton, Celtic, all day. And back in the day, maybe it meant more than it does now. And it still fucking stares me when Sinn Féin fucking win the election. Jesus. In our lifetime, that's something I never thought I'd see. You know what I mean? But I'm not fucking saying up to that. Well, I might be in my head, but I'm not promoting that. I'm saying we've moved on. Because we do move on. And what we thought was evil. I mean, I'm from Liverpool, and I fucking James Bulger got walked. Me and my dad had a print shop, and James Bulger got walked past our shop, right, when he was led away from the Strand. So we weren't involved, we didn't see it, and it happened. Now, I know those two kids that done that. They weren't fucking evil, right? They weren't. They were fucked up due to where they lived, and I know where they lived, and it wasn't a fucking good place. They were left on the sod, they were not cared for, they were out and about, and they didn't have a fucking clue. They were 12 and 13 years of age. They couldn't even decide whether they wanted fucking cheese and onion or salt and vinegar in the shop, let alone be accountable.
I thought they were a bit younger. I thought they were a bit younger than that. Am I getting that wrong?
I don't know, Della. You know, I'm not an aficionado on it, but I lived through it, and it was part of being here.
But just as you say there, Frank, you know, when I get a circumstance like that, that wee boy experiencing that, and to his family and whatever else, that act and that thing that happened, they would perceive that as evil. But as you say, there's circumstances, there's reasons that lead to that.
There's no excuse there. I can't give an excuse because I don't fucking know. You know, and I made a statement once. I've been on the internet since fucking IRC and CompuServe and all that, in chat rooms and all that. And around about the time, or not long after, I made a statement that we were all fucking responsible for that. All of us. That's my thinking on it. Do you know what I mean? Well, because if we're living in a society that can allow kids to even think about what those two lads did to that poor baby. You know, it's not, they're not fucked up. We fucked them up. That's the end of it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
But that's the bigger picture, Frank. That's the thing. You know, people look at the event, they clamber about for an apparent justice of it. You know, certain things happen and everybody goes, oh, justice was done, yada, yada, yada. But just as you pointed out, nobody ever gets to the root of that. You know, how are we living? What was the influences? What was the circumstances that brought that, you know, allowed that?
Like you just said before, Del, we went out and played footy. It never rained every fucking day like it does now, or it wasn't pissing snow or wind. You had your dinner, you went out and played footy, you come in for your tea, and then went back out and played fucking footy again.
Exactly.
That was us. Now, nowhere amongst my peers would any thought would even be near to what those kids do. And to me, that is like, I don't know, it's hard to explain without sounding like an apologist, which I'm not. And I'm not a fucking, you know, a fucking champagne socialist social worker who wants to get everything. I'm not. But if that was my kids wouldn't have done that. And that's a really fucking hard thing to say, because your kids will do shit that you don't ever expect them to do. But I know for a fact my kids wouldn't have done that. Regardless, they might have done life for murder in the late 20s or whatever, but they wouldn't at fucking 8, 9, 10 years of age have even had it in their head to do what those two fucking lads done. And that puzzles me. That really fucking puzzles me, it does.
But there's a lot of people...
You know, it's like, but you go back to the social engineering stuff and all this stands and identifying as whatever. I don't give two shits what you want to identifiers.
Yeah.
As long as you don't put it on my toes, mate. We're happy days, I'll get you the pint and we'll have a fucking good long chat.
But that's it. And that's
there's a fella just had to come out there, Del. He don't fire the Ted. And he stepped in on this trans argument. And he's been fucking raped. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's lost everything, all his commissions and all that. He's basically a fucking pariah for standing up and saying, you know, these women or men, whoever they identify as, just give them a fucking word. Let them fucking speak and stop putting them down as like fucking dickheads. I don't know where society is, though. I haven't got a fucking clue. I'm the fella that told me our fella, Bernard Manning, was no longer relevant, even though we both laughed at him. And now, I am glad my our fella isn't around because I wouldn't know how he'd deal with all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the fucking fellas identifying as women. Yeah, fucking hell, my our fella just about cope with gay. Do you know what I mean?
But that's for me, Frank. That, you know, all that kind of stuff. Again, it goes back to this: why do we have subjectivity lauded out and put into the public domain? I think, you know, for me, I identify that as being the influencer.
Because objectivity is beneath us.
Well, that's it. You know, it's like
that's how we're brought up is you can't be objective because you live what you get and you can think it through.
Aye.
But don't think about the bigger picture because it's fucking nothing to do with you.
Aye. But
that's all I feel.
It's an inevitability because if you go back to when we were kids, we had a very, you know, boxed in kind of way of thinking. And even when I was a kid, you know, a gay man or whatever was a small minority, and it was let's point and fucking gang up on the gay guy or the gay whatever and ridicule and blah blah. So you see. Let me finish. Sorry, mate. So you see that from that kind of time that these things being pushed as an objective over the whole causes a boxing in of our perceptions and how we look and view the world, right? So that behaviour then transcends into abusing other people who are different to what the box of norm says it should be. So then these people, through years of oppression, ridicule and blah, blah, feel the need to fight back, to campaign, to establish themselves. So you know, and that's what I see happening, you know, in present times, because people don't realise that it's subjectivity that was pushed as a objective over the whole from the very beginning is the problem. You know, if we're going to live in communities and groups, objectivity should only ever be in the public domain. And that, for me, that goes right down to movies and what they portray in movies and media and whatever else is just the exact same. You know, we have to be, for me, people have to be very cautious of that. So, you know, when I look at the world and I go, well, why is all this subjectivity out in politics and in the mainstream and pushed as relevant and we should be placing more attention on it? It just feeds into division because people are just trying to project themselves onto the world continually. It's feeding the narcissist. The narcissist or the false ego who wants to impose themselves over the world. No, fuck that. It's like, well, the only thing I'm interested in the objective arena is resolving issues. Alright, so this clan, we want to build a road to get to that clan so that we can have easy access to the amenities and the whatever else. Fine. That's the stuff we should be putting our attention to. I don't give a fuck about such and such that wants to stick his cock in somebody's arse.
For me, I always wonder where the fuck we came from.
Mm-hmm.
And how we ended up working in fields from all of a sudden from nowhere. Fuck the Big Bang and all that.
Yeah.
The Dark Ages, what the fuck happened in the Dark Ages? What's all that about? And all of a sudden, we all came through the Dark Ages, hip hip fucking hooray. Now we all work in fields, get hung as witches and fucking divvies.
See all that shit, Frank? I think we're in the Dark Ages.
And we started paying fucking tax. How did that come around?
You're saying about the Dark Ages. I class this as the Dark Ages.
Mate, it's fucking darker than it's ever been.
Exactly.
And the problem we've got now is we've got that much fucking information to know that the lights shouldn't be fucking off. The lights should be well on. Yeah. It should be floodlit, this shit. Yeah. And it's not. You know, we're talking today about storms, and I can't still, for the life of me, get my head around weather manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
I can. And then I look at it and I go, fucking hell, my garden there, it's full of fence today. Like, there's no fucking garden and there's no fence. And I've got a fucking big long fence that belongs to the council. And the fence is in the garden. And I'm saying, I remember kind of getting blown to school with a scarf on and mittens, and I thought that was windy as fuck. It was never like this, mate.
No.
Never like this.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I say that all the time, mate. You know, I grew
And
up.
even my name's Francis, right? And the kids even rang me today to say, you know, the next storm after the next one, it's called Francis. Well, in. It's like I never even fucking knew there was storms that had names. I thought it was typhoons and hurricanes.
Aye.
Now they're giving a bit of fucking piss and wind a name.
You know?
Surely there's fucking some more to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like they're trying to justify it, and people just go, yeah, I'll have that. You know what I mean? And the biggest concern that most of them have got, which fucking always kills me, how am I going to get to work? Just don't fucking go. Ring them up and say, look, I'm not coming to work today, right?
That's the question.
And if everyone's done it, and everyone's stuck together, and remembered what fucking unions is about and solidarity, you wouldn't have to go to fucking work if there's a chance of a 3-4 on your head.
Yeah.
Now, you don't go to work, you're not getting fucking paid.
Exactly.
There's no fucking, it's all cut and dried as much more as it's ever been. Like you say, the dark ages.
Right.
It was a smudge, it was a blur, no one knows. But we all came out of it. People, all of us, working the fields and paying fucking tax.
Yeah.
How the fuck that happened, I don't know. After we just won a civil war, why did everybody come from France? You know, all them things that make Britain great.
Mm-hmm.
And we're working in the fucking fields paying tax. And it's no different now. If Boris Johnson's got a fucking original idea in his head, I'll show me ass.
Aye.
That's Dominic Cummings. Looks, you talk about evil. I don't do hate. I'm an Evertonian. I've been a match all my life. And I banned me kids from singing really bad songs at the Derby match about Steven Gerrard, Baby and all that.
Yeah.
And Heysel. It's not for me.
No.
It's all about like fucking the banks in the footy. But if you want to see evil, mate, you look at that fucking Dominic Cummings. And that's as close as I'd get to calling something evil.
I don't know who that is.
He's the writer and advisor to Johnson. He's basically fucking the man in charge. Unless you think Boris Johnson's got an original thought and is able to speak his own words without getting fucked up on racism or misogyny or something, then you have to realise Dominic Cummings is the script fella for Johnson. Do you know what I mean? He's the man in control, and he looks fucking the part. Do you know what I mean? He's hard. I find it hard to fucking like him every sent me bird a bunch of flowers, you know what I mean? It's just not, but they're not nice people. And while all this was going on, like, Philip Schofield's come out as gay, this day, that day, whatever. The fucking world's going tits up. Some's just fucking taking the piss. But hang on, Mark Sargent's on breakfast telly. That's the big news. You're on about big news, give me big news. That was the fucking big news.
Well, it's not that. You get fucking Philip Schofield going on about there's much more relevant things we should be focusing on. And that was exactly my point. What, like, you're gay, Philip?
25 years, the cunt never fucking spoke up about being gay, and he's on about spitting shit out. Being honest, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, that's it. And getting back to the evil thing for me, as an individual, you know, internally, evil to me is when you're dishonest with yourself, because bad things happen for me, you know, internally when I'm dishonest with myself, you know. So there's so many forms that you could label evil, you know.
But there's loads of stuff goes on, you know, and you know what this medium has done? It's taken the personal stuff. I know that I'm talking to you now as if I was sitting next to you, right? And there's nothing I won't say, and we could fall out or whatever. But you know, 80% of the cunts in this medium, they don't even exist. They don't even go to the fucking house. They've never talked to anybody real. And if they have, they've never ever spoken the way they fucking speak in these chat rooms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The basics aren't even there. And they want to try and convince you of something else. Yeah. They haven't even got the fucking basics of interaction. That's what saddens me. You know, the last few weeks I've fucking loved it. That non-secretary show stuff. Brilliant. fucking eating each other's asses out, going to court and all that. Fucking good enough for them cunts. And it's coming across here. The most amazing thing, I've been busy, so I haven't really been on. Fucking Ranty getting some mush on. He'd apparently met some fella who was painting his office. And the fella told him he's working for the Illuminati, right? So he's put this out there, and people have gone, fuck off, you know that. And he's got him in, right, and done this voice fucking, voice disguise thing, like they do on fucking McIntyre Investigates and that. Mm-hmm. And this mush is called the Bulldog. Right. He works for whoever. And they're selling fucking tat already on the internet, by the way. And Nancy... Now, all that is fucking funny enough. So who's Nancy's best mate in the world ever?
Fuck
Sleeping Predator, yeah.
Ugh, fuck.
The nonce, right?
I don't even
He's only gone on fucking Nathan's show the next day and called Nancy a lying cunt. And it was his voice and this, that and the other. And the whole thing's out. While they're not in, I'm fucking made up.
Right.
And while they fall out, I'm made up. Right. Because they're all frauds. And there is no fucking debate to be had. And you get the same fucking knobheads on every fucking hangout. Rumpus. I mean, fucking hell. The Rumpus. Can you imagine it? He's like Jerry off the fucking Good Life.
Exactly.
You'd fucking tune him in 2 seconds.
Exactly. That's
all of them.
That's it. And Dr. Killamasol's logs, he's put a comment there, and I totally agree. It's as simple as that. I'll respect your lifestyle if you respect mine. Simple. I'm a so-called straight male. Whatever you are matters not to me, as long as you're not telling me how to run my house and my clan. Fucking simple. I mean, it's
fucking 100%. I know the stuff you've done with the busies, though. Yeah. I know we've been on that ship for the same amount of time, and I'm not a wolf. I'm not fucking a weak. I'm not better than any other cunt.
Yeah.
I know stuff, and if you want advice, I'll give you it, like you do.
Yeah.
There's no charge, no fucking sub me,
no
fucking super chat. This is what happened to me. I'll tell you, so it doesn't happen to you.
Exactly.
That's basically how I live my life. You know what I mean?
And that.
The thing is, for some people, they think you're a smart ass.
Yeah.
And they've never been out the house, so they don't know what the fuck happens out the house.
Yeah.
And when they see us doing stuff like that, in their head they go, this doesn't even happen in the real world. This is all on. Why are you dissing the police? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they've never fucking experienced anything.
Exactly.
And it's bad enough here. When you go to the States and all them cunts, rhetoric and all that, honest to God, mate, I've never known people who I've been interested in for the wrong reason, and I can't help myself. Like, I'm not rubbernecking. I just want them to fucking fail. I know that they are. I can't believe that people who go and take photographs of rockets and tell you the earth is fucking round because you've seen Elon Musk's last rocket going up.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And go fund me on the,
But this
I'll meet Russian vids if you go fund us.
But again, Frank, this is the whole point. Just like any product, it's up to the individuals to place their attention. It's like, I don't look at these people and blame them or waste my time hating on them or even wanting them to fail. The problem for me is always rooted in the people, because they're the ones that buy the product. They're the ones that allow things to happen and perpetuate these people or whatever they're partaking in. And that's their business. Again, just don't come trying to fucking impose it onto me. That's it. It's fucking simple.
It's like any business, and you can say, I work behind the bar 20 odd years. I'm selling fucking death to people in the class. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I know fellas who fucking sold drugs. Mm-hmm. But your conscience is clear once you pass it over. It's their decision. That's the fucking hard way. Is it evil? I don't know. But it's the way it is. Now, when someone tells me something, I take it as that, and I'll judge you on that. Mm-hmm. So when I hear all these cunts like Nathan and all that, I mean, that fucking divvy, as soon as his kids go back to school, he'll be back on the knocker selling fucking pegs and shammy letters. You know what I mean? Yeah. As Bird would say, like, that's fucking enough, John Lennon. get back to fucking work, get in the car and get on the knocker.
Yeah.
That's what he is, he's a fucking salesman. And he's earning fucking corn while he's a house husband and his head out at work. And as soon as all that disappears, and he doesn't have to smack his kid no more and she's in nursery, you know what I mean? He'll be back and he'll be gone. Anthony fucking Riley will still be fucking nonchalant on any woman who throws her head up in a chat and thinking he's on. You know what I mean?
Aye, but at the end of the day, Frank, I couldn't give a fuck about any of these fuckers.
Well, let's not forget, Dodell, he's got a big dick and a Range Rover.
Yeah,
so
that's
he's got us there, like.
I drive a Honda, so I'm a lesser being and stuff. So.
Yeah, but it just highlights, and all these people, right? Not one of them is evil. We're on about evil. Not one of them is evil.
Yeah.
They're fucked up, and they think, and they must be fucking skint. They must be absolutely on their ass to do what they do for super chats and fucking, you know.
Well, it's their
donations
circumstances
and all
again. Their circumstances is none of my fucking business. I can only be me. You know, and this is the whole point with everything. It's, you know, people trying to shut each other, control each other, this, that, and the other. It's like, well, fuck it, you know, just be you. And that's
but they're not being them, they're being fucking salesmen.
But that's their prerogative, Frank.
I'll talk to Nancy and fucking Riley all day, every day, if they weren't trying to sell me something. And I live my life selling things. I'm a scouser. That's what we do. You can't fucking sell me anything.
Yeah.
These are trying to sell me something. I'm not being accountable because it's shit.
Yeah. What's that, mate?
And that's for me, is the top and bottom of it is, we're not stupid. And they consistently think you are. Yeah. And are taking money from fucking people who think they're ace. You know, that's got to be wrong. It's fucking...
Well, but again, the part for me is people who buy into it, people who facilitate it and allow it to happen. That's their responsibility. But again, it's theirs. I can only be me, and you can only be you. So whatever, you know.
That's right. But the life exists out of YouTube, is what I'm trying to say.
Of course.
You know, and I know me, and loads of other people that I fucking consider. I don't know, they're not mates. We don't even know each other, but we see each other in fucking hangouts and we're on each other. Does that make sense? Without fucking wanting to make pom-poms and do a fucking dance and that. There is a lot of people out there who know each other.
Yeah.
And we're not at it. We don't fucking go around and threaten people and say, you're this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And it's, when you step back from it, the whole thing, and I say to my kids, they're having it, they're not having it. And I say to them, look, what's your fucking problem? You'll sit here and talk to me all day about the Loch Ness fucking monster, but call me a dickhead. If I wanted to ask you, show me why the world is fucking a spinning ball.
That's it. That's it.
I forever can't get my head around that.
Yeah.
And I still think this medium and social media in general has killed any form of discussion that will have a result or change minds.
Well, that's why, because
people are so ingrained, and they're sent in to support each other. And as soon as they see something, I mean, even in my wildest fucking lowest days, I couldn't imagine fucking agreeing with Fat Craig, the fat air fella, like, and he's got a fucking thousands and thousands of kid gamers up his ass.
Aye. But that's the thing about this. That's the thing about this stuff, Frank. The thing about social media is that it allows everybody to have, you know, avenues of echo chambers and to reaffirm their bias. So that's what happens with people. They don't know how to engage objectively, to have discussions, to you know, analyse their reasoning processes, to allow others to analyse their reasoning processes and have those discussions. What happens is they know that they can just avoid it. They can jump online, they can find a wee niche that will reaffirm their bias, and that's it. That's the only place they'll ever go to. That's part of the problem with the social media stuff. You know, that's why you can't have a proper reasoned discussion with people anymore. Because they'll just click the phone and say, what does Google say? Oh, I've found a bias that's reaffirming it for me, so therefore I'm not going to have a discussion with you. You're a nutter.
Because it's not real. And they don't have to be accountable. You can say what you want.
If
you're in the pub and you sat down and I sat down next to Rumpus and he called me an absolute fucking cunt. You know, it's not going to happen, is it? Let's have it right. But it happens here all the time because they can get away with it because they're not accountable.
That's it.
I don't give a fuck. People saying, I can see the chat now going, sounds about Frank. Yeah, I know what's gone on. But the thing is, it was fucking on the subject that you're on about. And there's no such thing as evil. Like, let's fucking jib the hate and the evil. There's people out there fucking earning off decent people, right? Who are fucking, you know, they're not even aware of what's going on. They just think they belong to something, a family, one side or the other. And they give them fucking job to these fucking divvies, right? That's the end of it. So there's no accountability. These cunts can come in this chat and call me a cunt, call you a cunt, and then he can walk away and ask for money on the channel.
That's it.
That for me isn't fucking straight.
That's it. Well, that's there. That's you know, a highlight of who they are and what they are. You know, it's the same as anything. You know, I get it all the time. You know, Dell's this, Dell's that, the other, and then I'll go to these people and I'll say, right, no worries. I hear your claim or your concern. Now I'm going to ask you for specifics. I'm willing to be here. I'm willing to engage with you and ask you about specifics and see if we can come to some sort of reasons. And you never get it. So I point to that all the time with people. People can shout and scream
I just
about whatever
try and
they
put
like.
myself in the
And
place.
if you don't engage with any kind of listening to each other and having the discussion about it, then there's something not quite right about you. And that's that. You become irrelevant to me, and I don't want to speak to you. I'm not interested in you. You know, if you can't just have a reasoned discussion about what it is you're claiming, then you're of no relevance to me whatsoever. It's as simple as that.
That's right, Al. And I always go back to the pub scenario. This isn't the pub. In the pub, you're accountable. You sat down and you had a fucking debate with someone. He called you the cunt.
Yeah.
You had a bit of a fucking set to, and you all went home, shook hands, and see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Here, people get away with fucking murder, and it's not right because one day they're gonna walk out the fucking house and try and be what they think they are here. Because they're dead famous on the internet, and get fucking sparked. That's the end.
Exactly. Dr. Killimasol was making the point again, and I can agree with that. Again, through self-reflection, getting back to the evil thing. You know, if I know that you are maybe a certain person who doesn't want to partake in a certain act or doesn't want me to murder you or whatever I'm going to do to you, but I know that and then I still partake in that act, then for me I could class that as a evil, you know, because it's
that's right, but these are the things you fight against. As you get older, I'm 55, and the last 2 years I've been to more funerals of friends, and that's what's going to happen as we get older, you know what I mean? Yeah. But the thing is, I'm not church at all, and I've jibbed funerals where, not that I couldn't be asked, I just didn't want to fucking comply and partake. I went to crematorium or the cemetery, but I couldn't be part of that bollocks with all the fucking insignia and the fucking candles and all that, because it does nothing for the dead fella and it does nothing for me.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No, so it's just to alleviate the want for justice of those who cared. You know?
Don't get me wrong, fucking I lost a mate a couple of years ago, and he ended up getting into the wrong shit, and he ended up getting fucking burned to death in the boot of the car after he'd been half dead for 24 hours. Big, massive case in Liverpool. I knew this kid, a mate, since we were like 3 years old. And even then, I never thought evil. I thought cunt.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The lads that done it were cunts. They weren't evil. And my mate, who ended up on the wrong side, was a soft cunt. Because he had no fucking need to be there.
Yeah, well that's it. Well, that's a circumstance where, you can see where people would classify that as evil. Where, we termed it liberty taking. Here, you're taking liberty on somebody that you know is no of that ilk. It's like, you look at like the kind of movement of gangsters and stuff, and, as I understand
don't you find all that odd now, that it's all coming like...
Hold on, Frank, I was just going to make a point.
You've got Sean Atwood and...
Hold on, Frank, I was just going to make a point.
James English.
Aye. I forget where I was going now because you brought it in, but...
Oh, sorry, man.
That's
Sorry.
all right. You know, this is what's kind of happening. We're not really having
I've
a
never
discussion.
been accused of that before.
I know, but you're just jumping in and not really listening to what's being said, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, I am. Sorry, man. Go on.
No, it's all right. I forget where I was going with that now. But it was about the gangster thing. It's like, you know, the way I understand it, back in the day, there was rules. If you're playing that game, then it's fair game. But what seems to happen now is that there doesn't seem to be any of that now. There doesn't seem to be any kind of code of conduct where it's just, you know, women and children and innocents and people who are vulnerable are just, you know, utilised and used for whatever to benefit these people. That's a whole other game. But again, that for me, that's a sign of the times. Circumstances again, and what's driving these people and why they behave the way they behave. Because that's it, you know, to display, for me again, self-identity, no projecting it as a whole. You know, to have empathy, to understand suffering, and want to reason and understand with other people, to just ignore that and go straight to the abuse of power and kill somebody or maim them or whatever, for me, I would term that, as, if you like, as an act of evil. You know, but no the hairy-fairy devil stuff and that it's entities and fucking
it's
stuff like that.
Wrongness.
It's how people take on ideas and allow these ideas and circumstances to rule them and dictate and influence their behaviour. But again, it lies at their feet. They're responsible. You don't get a by just pointing at some arbitrary, imaginary, invisible entity and saying, well, the devil made me do it, or demons made me do it. It's all bullshit. You know?
No, that's why there's a massive interest in gangsters. You know, you've got James English, Sean Atwood, all those channels. Basically, giving airtime to fellas. They've been life tough, fucking drug meals and etc. But people love it. People want that.
Yeah.
Because people are always get scared of going to jail.
Yeah.
And they'd like to do things that these people have done. Mm-hmm. Never had the balls to do it.
Exactly.
Don't ever want to go to jail, but you listen to this fella telling them all about it all day, and then go to work and fucking clock off at 5 o'clock.
But they also get
you know what I mean?
They also get a glorified, you know, image of you know, their perception of what they think it was like. And that's the disingenuous part for me, because it's certainly no fucking glorified.
Paul Ferris.
Sitting in a wee concrete
There's fucking... Warren and the Craig twins bought the Mars flowers. They're nice.
Aye, sitting in a wee concrete box for 25 years, isn't he? There's nothing to glorify that at all, you know?
Yeah, Reggie was a great lad. He always bought his Mars flowers every Sunday. You know what I mean? Ferris wouldn't slash you for fucking nothing. You must have deserved it. You know what I mean?
That's it.
And it's all bollocks. At the end of the day, the hardest in where we're from rises to the fucking top. Mm-hmm. You know, and they're our government. Rightly or wrongly, they were our government, them people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I didn't listen to fucking nothing that anybody in authority told me. But fucking jump quick smart if the likes of them told me. Not ordered me. Mm-hmm. But you want to be wrong, don't you?
Yeah.
And you're there. And
I want to get back to this because there's people having comments in the chat box. Frank, I want to get back to that aspect of evil and morality again, because, you know, I've had thoughts like this. It's Dr. Kilimasaw again. If you stamp on a kitten and you like it and you want to find more kittens to stamp on, what will people deem you as? What kind of act would that be? But at the very same time, I can look at different cultures, and a lot of different cultures disturb me. You know, I look at people who skin animals alive, cats, dogs, eat live, you know, rodents and whatever else. And I look at that and I go, fuck, I'm horrified by that. But again, it's different circumstances. To these people in the culture that they were born into, it's normality. It's fair game. That's the way you live. But to us that live in a different set of circumstances and how we reflect and relate to things around us, we look at these things as an act of evil. That's not right. So there's so many conflicts of circumstance.
Yeah, mate, we're the empire. We made the rules. We don't eat dogs. We don't fucking skin possums and all that. We made the rules. And everyone who breaks our rules and doesn't act like us is a cunt.
Exactly.
I don't care what anyone eats. You know what I mean? I don't get it. I wouldn't have you fucking someone coming to our house and skinning me cat and throw it on the wall. Yeah. But at the same time, if that's what you do, let's have it right though. See Venezuela and Mexico and all that. Mm-hmm. They're catching up. They're fucking going to be. Venezuela's got the greatest fucking oil in the world, right? And they hate it because they're a socialist, communist, fucking leaning people. Mm-hmm. Venezuela's been fucked for centuries by empire and fucking, big states,
Yeah.
rules. Now they're not, because they're just fucking people, and they're standing up. And you don't hear about it. You don't hear about 250,000 people on the streets of Venezuela 3 weeks ago singing fucking "The People United Will Never Be Defeated." That's not for the news. Do you know what I mean? It's going on all over the world.
Yeah.
And simply for the fact is, we left them people fucking 100 years behind, and now they're catching up. And just as we had fucking transport riots and civil unrest in the 1900s, early 1900s, in every city in the world, where everyone was fucked before they gave us a war to go and get killed in. Like, that's what's happening in these countries. They've come past that. They're fucking creating, they're making shit, they're competing.
Yeah.
And the rest of the world can't understand that. Because it's not good for the propaganda. These cunts shouldn't be clever, you know what I mean? And that's what happens. It's the same as every fucking city in the country. Glasgow shouldn't be clever, Liverpool shouldn't be clever, Manchester, posh music shouldn't be clever. No time to rule. Fuck them.
But as I say, it all comes back down to, it just all comes back down to, for me, mind your own fucking business, live your life the way you live your life, and that's fucking it. If you keep your business to yourself and everybody else keeps their business to themselves, there's nothing to be focusing on. But when we start putting it all up there in the public arena, it just causes confusion, fucking war, conflict, division. It's fucking useless.
People don't cause wars. People can be together. I can give a fuck about people. I can give a fuck about everyone if they're on the same page. People who want to join the army or the busies and all that, no, fuck off. But at the same time, there's a fucking huge core of people, and it's growing in the world, that no, this is fucking shit. And it won't happen in my lifetime, and it'll probably fucking be destroyed before, not long after I die.
I think it's
but the feeling is across the world is of total fucking injustice, and that's the end of it.
But that's because, again, for me, people are sticking their neb into everybody else's business, and we've got an order imposed over the whole, and everybody's trying.
Why have you got everyone
again, Frank? Let me finish, Frank.
Business.
Let me
finish.
It's
everyone's business.
Can we not just have adult? You speak, I speak, and we.
Go ahead, mate.
I forget what I was going to say again, man. I forget now. Doesn't matter.
No, I'm sorry.
No worries. No worries.
You know about Celtic beating Rangers 7-0? Tell I'm going to get off.
No worries, my man.
I'm sorry for rambling.
No probs.
Some good points on it. Honest.
I know. It's just
okay, man.
I just get frustrated, Frank, because sometimes discussions are no discussions. Sometimes people just want to meander and ramble and just talk all the top of each other, and it just kind of irritates me. So it's nothing personal, mate.
Oh, that's cool. I apologise if that's
no worries.
How it was, man.
No
Sorry
worries.
about that.
No worries, mate.
Take it easy.
Cool, bud. Right. Give me 2 seconds. I need to go for a piss. If you want to join me, you need to send me an email. See, just before I check again for anybody that's asking their emails, circumstances and environments and how it affects, and look at myself. If I open up a wee bit about me, the way the world is right now, as I say, the ideas and the way people live life, their social interactions, who they are, how they conduct themselves. For somebody like me, it's so difficult. It's virtually impossible for me to integrate myself into that. So I become isolated. Then they want to push, there's this drive, you've got to work, you've got to do this, there's this expectancy of you. And that kind of situation drives me into depression. I become dysfunctional. My psychology, my state of being just starts to crash. I can't, trying to mould myself to fit into this environment, this circumstance is virtually an impossibility. And I'm sure there's many other people out there that can relate to that. And as I said before, believe me, I bought into it when I was a child. Getting into my teenage years, getting my apprenticeship, I was all full of the expectation. I had, these ideas of how I was going to succeed and how it was going to be, and listening to all the narratives and stories and expectations that were coming at me, and I tried to push myself into that mould, and it just destroyed me. I got to my early 20s, and as I say, I just crashed. A culmination of childhood and stuff that went on growing up, getting into that situation, getting the job, getting the apprenticeship, starving constantly, being homeless, living in the fucking street while trying to hold down a job. You just become so disillusioned by it, to the point where you sit down, you analyse it, you see it for what it is, and as soon as you see it, that it's a system, it's an idea, it's a concept, there is no way that I can ever integrate myself back into that again, to be functional, to be healthy, to be happy. It's just not going to happen. So these ideas and concepts that we try and align with, they're no natural, they don't fulfill, they don't satisfy, they just destroy you. But what happens is people find a wee niche of comfortableness in it, or apparent success, and they're the ones that want to perpetuate and keep it driving. Whereas somebody like me, there's no satisfaction in it. I can't interact with people, I can't engage with people, I can't relate to people, I can't be in these circumstances. It just destroys my psyche, my emotional stability, my health starts to deteriorate. So, again, circumstances, ideas, concepts can have effects on everybody, which again goes back to, why do we try and impose systems over the whole? Who are these fuckers? Why are we trying to have an order from the chaos? Anyhow, I just thought I'd let that out there. Where am I? Right, has anybody requested? I will do, mate. I'll give you a wee buzz. Right, I'm not getting any other requests. Anybody in the chat? If anybody want to come in and join me? These mongs that just want to come about calling you names, whatever, you fucking prick. As was stated earlier, you've not even got a shred of a ball in you to be able to stand in front of me and say the things that you can put in my chat box. You're just a demented, empty wee cretinous fucktard that would absolutely explode with piss and shite. All at the same time, if you were ever to dare put yourself in front of me in my presence, and you know it. So, carry on with your wee kiddie name calling, you fucking gimpy clown predator. I've listened to Tazarian's stuff as well, Ute. The Origins of Evil, fucking 6 hours long, or something like that. Keyboard killers, exactly, Tracy. It's always a fucking same. But again, there's people that are vulnerable, that will be influenced and swayed by that type of behaviour. Well, that's all I've got. I don't need any prompting, Arthur, but aye, I know. I do what I do. I'm not here to fulfil anybody's expectations. I'll do what I do when I fucking decide I'm going to do it. Simple as that. Right, I'm just checking that. There's nothing there. So, is there anybody in the chat that's... Do you believe Pizzagate is true? Or do you believe that people organise paedophile rings and whatever else? Aye, probably. Aye. Because having these sorts of systems allows predatory behaviour to flourish and to go unchecked. You get children, again, circumstances, born into whatever circumstances, that end up with no parents, no family to support them or look after them. They end up in the hands of the system. Now, what do you get when you're in there? You get people who are not really there to nurture and to really care or have a bond or anything with any of these children. So where are they going to end up? What allows, what are you allowing to happen there? But again, all these things come about because of the bigger circumstance of what we're a part of here. The bewilderment, the delusional mental dysfunction that is rife amongst human beings. Brandon Cook wants to come on and put you straight, mate. Put me straight about what? Send a request. I'm not getting any emails in. No, I've got one tonight. Oh, there we go. Let's have a chat about what you just said about trying to fit into the system. Regards, and Ellis. No worries. Send you a link right now. No, I don't have any contact with him. I'll just get the copyright strike, Harry McDonald. A copyright strike for my content. Very good.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going, mate?
Yeah. I'm trying my best.
Your sound's a wee bit different this evening. You sound kind of far away. Hang on, I'm just going to flip that so I'm here. You hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Aye, so you were going to offer something up in regards to the trying to fit into the system and the way of life.
Yeah. I'm in the same position as you. I bought into it at a young age. Got a job, all the default stuff, and it just completely destroyed me. For some reason I was incapable of dealing, with the boss thing. Someone that can tell you what to do, when, how quick. But for some reason that didn't go very well in my mind, and when that doesn't go well, there's basically no other thing but to not have a job, and just be in a situation that is only bad.
Yeah.
so lonely, nothing to do, and the system is so based on the whole job thing that if you for some reason cannot have that job, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
And you end up in the gutter, as I call it.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then you're basically in some sort of, well, that's how I feel. I feel that you're some sort of stuck in between going, you know, I don't want to bore myself to death. I don't want to work myself to death.
But you want,
is there something in between?
That's the thing for me. It's, you know, it's like there was never the opportunity to have a life of self-sustaining. There was never the opportunity to go, well, there's a piece of land, there's, you know, the tools required, there's the skills required in order to look after yourself, to construct your own home, your own dwelling, blah blah blah. That's not the dream I was sold. The dream I was sold was the same as you. You know, so you end up stuck like that. You realise that that's the life you want to live. You know, I've identified that. I want to be here with my family. I want to be with my partner and my children. I want to have a hands-on, real experience of that type of life. But there's no contingency plan. And it's all this rubbish, you know, like, oh, we have to contribute. And I keep asking the question, I go, what are we contributing to? What is the contribution? Because where are we going? What's the end result that we're trying to achieve here? Because I'm not seeing any clarity. I mean, I look here, you know, I've been in this kind of area for, you know, a few generations now, and it's degraded. You know, they just construct homes everywhere. There's nothing for the children. They put up a wee square, you know, area of maybe, you know, 50 square metres, and they put a chute and a climbing frame and a swing in it, and you go, is this it? Is this the contribution? This is it. This is what we've achieved. It's fucking bullshit. It's totally fucking bullshit. You know? So I'm willing to contribute, but tell me what I'm contributing to. What's the end result? What's the end goal here? There's no clarity on it. It's just keep you busy perpetually with delusions and ideas of undefined, you know, destinations. And that's it.
Yeah, or just the money thing.
Aye.
The same thing is like, oh yeah, you work for the money. But I'm like, yeah, but the fucking money, I need it because of how the system is.
Yeah.
So it's just an never-ending circle. You keep doing that and doing that and doing that. And I'm like, what the fuck's the point?
Exactly. I can't eat money. I can't build a house with money. I can't plant seeds with money. I mean,
it's all a means to an end. But yeah.
Yeah. And that's.
But yeah, in the like to add to your point about the playground for the kids. In my parents' neighborhood, there's always been, ever since I lived there, and that was like 20 years ago. There was always a playground, quite a big one actually.
Yeah.
And now they want to. There's like they are attempting. They've tried it a few times to completely flatten the whole fucking place and build 11 houses on it. And I mean, like all the kids in the entire thing, they go there and they love it.
Yeah.
And I've been going there as well, but. Now the whole thing is just okay. No, just build a few houses on it.
Exactly.
And that point as well, it's not even that big of a place, and they want to put 11. I'm like, for fuck's sake, why so many in the first place?
Exactly.
It's like, everybody is so densed up and you know, especially these days where they say, oh, you know, also the different cultures. And then we're like, yeah, this is asking for trouble. Because you put so many different people so close to each other.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, if I only have to listen. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add to that. It's the same as the scenario you say about, you know, the working life type thing where, you know, you're supposed to integrate with people who the only thing they've got to offer you is what they watched on the TV last night. or discussing the latest soccer match or football match or whatever it is, and it's just like, is this it? Is that? And it's the same as you say, okay, right, you're going to build 11 houses here, but what happens is you get 11 people from all different walks of life, different places, that move into these, and then they live in isolation within the same confines as each other, and they don't relate to each other, they don't have any interactions, they're just boxed in and going to their job every day to perpetuate and pay for the fucking mortgage of the home that they're in, and they believe that they're somehow achieving something that's worthy. I mean, it's demented.
Yeah, and I feel exactly the same way. When I go to birthdays, I went to one actually today, and the only thing I hear is who's dead, who's sick, who's got a new job, who's got this nice Audi car for the job they are doing now, the new one. Like, oh, I was able to get this big fucking car, and I'm like, and then then something comes up in me, and I say, well, I really hope that you enjoy that job, because if you don't, you're gonna hate losing that car.
Exactly.
Something like that. It's just, it comes up, and I say it, and you can see in the face they don't like it.
Yeah.
They don't like that kind of, like the truth of it, the real reality of it, because that's it. It's who's got a new job.
It's all rooted in competition for me, and it's not like, it's like I'm trying to have that kind of discussion with Xander, the 7-year-old just now, about competition, because he's slightly being influenced and he's starting to get a wee warped kind of perception of competition. I'm trying to say, look, competition for me is only about bettering yourself. It should never be about viewing yourself as something better than anybody else, because that's not healthy, and it's not going to do anything for you. And I think that's what a lot of people are involved in. They're involved in competition with each other over delusional ideas and concepts, and that makes it even worse. So it's like trying to say, well, competition's healthy when you're benefiting or bettering yourself at any particular task that you're partaking in, because then you can refine, you can exercise yourself, and you get better at it. And that's good for you as the individual. But I think the majority of people are just so laced with competing with each other, and it's not even healthy competition, it's just boring and unhealthy,
A big pacing contest.
Aye, exactly. Yeah. And then they want to get all woeful and self, such and such is dead, look at our mortality, and we're so victim-like, and
and who's sick? I mean, for fuck's sake, people these days, so many people have problems, and I mean, I don't know why. I'm not claiming that I know why they have such issues, but I'm just observing that so many people, even young people, fucking tumors in the brain, getting really big, complex operations done to them at a really young age, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
I know.
I get that these bodies are machines, and they are, they have their weaknesses, and they're not perfect. Just like a motorbike, it's a machine. It has weaknesses. It can be destroyed. It needs oil. The basic things to function properly. But I mean, for fuck's sake, it shouldn't be that bad. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I know.
Of course, you need to put food in it and that, but not like.
See, that for me is a thing that people overlook as well. People focus on, like chemical influence, food influence, and these types of things. And for me, state of mind and where you're placing your attention can be a huge factor. Just as I said, when I was trying to mould myself into the system, my health would deteriorate. My psyche would deteriorate. I would start, because my psyche deteriorates, my body starts to follow. I start to get ailments. I'm kind of run down. I'm picking up, illnesses left, right, and centre, just based on how I'm up here. So, for me, I think that a lot of that plays a part in it, and I think a lot of people overlook that because they're told that it's more about, chemical, mechanistic type things, when, up here plays a huge, huge part in it. you know.
Yeah.
So if you're placing your attention on unhealthy things, then sure enough, your body's going to end up deteriorating and becoming unhealthy, you know.
Yeah. I've got definitely people in my family that, they do focus a lot on very negative things, and they're completely trashed.
Yeah.
Knees ruined. They break something really quickly, or
But the circumstances have dictated to them that that's life. That's the way it should be. That's where you should place your attention. That's what you should
nowadays
make.
you say, "Oh, I'm old."
Aye,
You know.
exactly.
I mean, there are other people who are relatively healthy at 80 or 89, and then suddenly it's like poof, that and they're dead.
Yeah.
And other people, they oh man, they're like at 70, they start to deteriorate, or even earlier, and then at 90, maybe they even if they get to that, they're just so degraded mentally, like they don't even recognize their own children.
Yeah.
I'm like, for fuck's sake.
I know, mate. I know, but that's it. You know, going back to the point, it's so difficult to integrate yourself into a system,
Right.
and trying to have that discussion with people. It's a system. It's not a natural way of living. It's a system, which means it's going to be to your detriment, and not everybody is going to be able to, you know, succeed in it and have health and prosperity within it. It's flawed, you know.
Right.
So they have to have contingencies, but the contingency they've got, like here, is a benefit system, where they try and make you dance through hoops and pressure you into moulding yourself to fit their expectation. And I've had that conversation with these people as well. Well, you know, I see it as a system. It's not a natural way of living. So your contingency should surely be for people like me, because I can't integrate myself into it. So why are you trying to constantly pressure me to fit myself into it when it's just going to be destructive? And plus, I'm going to end up taking it out on other people. You're going to cause a butterfly effect left, right and centre. Because it's a system, and people just don't seem to grasp that because they're so enamoured. It's life. This is the way life is, as if it's rooted in the objective. It's like it's just an idea,
Yeah.
an unhealthy one at that.
Yeah, as soon as I have the same thing. My parents, they are basically thinking that something in me is wrong for not fitting.
Mm-hmm.
They blame me, or they think that some other aspect has changed me, and that I am then, because my mother recently asked me and said, you used to have a job, and you had that job, and okay, the company was fucked, but you had the job, but now you don't.
Yeah.
As if it's my,
but
something.
The thing about it is that the truth of the matter is that you became disillusioned with it, right? Now, if I was to go to like a psychologist, a therapist, or something like that, what they're basically trying to do is to adjust you to be able to accept and fit back into that set of circumstances. Now, if I go to one of these people and I just simply say to them, what you're trying to do is to get me to mould into a system. I see it as a system. Therefore, once I've noticed it and seen it as a system, I'm never going to be able to integrate myself into it. End of discussion.
Aye.
Because that's it. It's about here. It's like, how can you push a square through a circle? You can't. Especially when the square realises that it's a circle. But what you see happening is people go to these, pseudoscience psychologists and whatever else, and they'll just adjust them enough to accept the fucked up set of circumstances and try and find some sort of, peace within it.
The bar.
Aye.
And I've other people in my family as well, and they use a different approach to make me sort of fit in again with the money. So they say, oh well, you don't want to keep holding your hand up, to get stuff. Like for example, my current bike is, it's pretty, it's very old, and it has quite a few things on it that because my bike is my only way of transportation, so I need to carry stuff, and the bike I currently is pretty bad for that, and it's horrible brakes and all that. But so I needed family to purchase a different one, so I could properly use it for transportation. And then the person who I asked to help me basically said, well, you don't want to keep doing holding your hand up, so don't you want to get a job again? And I'm like, yeah, of course, I don't want to keep holding my hand up, but it's not like I'm the one that
but the thing about it is, it would be healthier if you were free to be able to utilise your skills when you required them. But that's not what's expected of you, is that you have to utilise your skills on somebody else's expectations and be there continually, repetitively for the majority of your life, which is, again, to your detriment, So it's like, for me, well, why am I not free? I've got skills, I've got abilities, but I want to be able to utilise them when I require it, when it's to the benefit of me, when I've got a necessity. No when somebody else expects it of me, but that's what the system does. It puts the expectation on you, again, pushing the square through the circle, So it's not like I don't want to be, partaking in things and, utilising skills. It's not about that. It's just because I'm not going to waste my life and my energy when I can see the end result, which is nothing,
And what also felt really weird for me, because when I had a job, it was sometimes when there was no work, like there was a bit of a pause, and then instantly I was like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah.
Because when you weren't actively doing something on the job, I felt trapped.
Yeah.
I was like, if there's no work for me here, what am I doing here? I want to go back home.
Yeah.
And then it started going downhill from there. I was like, well, this feels weird.
Back in my earlier days, you still had, I don't know if you know the term casual work. So that allowed you to have no contract with people, no expectation, where you showed up, you would show up for a day's endeavours and you get rewarded for that day's endeavours right then on the spot, and then that was it. And that for me was, that kind of way of living benefited somebody like me because I could utilise that and it kept me healthy. Where I didn't need anybody else, I could go and partake in whatever I can. But they restricted that more and more and more and more and more. So it's very scarce now that you can get that sort of opportunity. So it's like they're just trying to squeeze you into this mould, and it's an impossibility. I'll just explode.
Right. Yeah, I feel the same way. I had the same thing, and the only alternative that I have to paid work is the what's it called? Like doing something for free. And the only kinds of jobs that are available in that circumstance, it's usually caring for elderly people, or mentally challenged, to say it nicely. But for some reason, it just doesn't suit me because I've been in places where I was living together with those kinds of other mentally challenged people, and I always saw the reason why they were the way they were. Look at the parents.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hold on a second. They're fucked up because the parents are fucked up, and maybe those parents were fucked up.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's the point?
Exactly.
And I couldn't bring myself to be like, okay, I'll just do I'll just go and do a job like that. Because I'm just what am I really doing here? What's the point? I'm just caring for someone that is fucked up because the parents were had some sort of genetical issue, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, exactly. So see, that's you can see circumstances having the butterfly effect. It's the same with me, when I analysed some of the dysfunction from my childhood, and I looked at my parents, I looked at their parents and the circumstances that they, you know, were involved in, and how it culminated in their state of mind and their behaviours, and, you know, there's so many influences and layers to circumstance, you know. You can't just generalise and point at one specific and say that's it. There's so much influence.
So
you know?
complex.
But it's funny because these people who are so dysfunctional like that are the very ones who'll stand up and say, I'm a proud slave, you know, as if they've got some sort of high ground to stand upon. You're like, you're dysfunctional. What's your relationship with your children? Fuck all. Do you even know your children? No, you fucking don't. Well done. Brilliant. You know?
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I don't really know any other valuable reason on this world to, your children, because that's, and honestly, I don't have children. I don't have the desire for children, to be honest. Maybe because, you know, of this, how this world is, because I'm like, fuck, you know, this world right now is so fucked, and it appears to only get worse.
Yeah.
So why would I, put children here? And
well, that's the drive, isn't it? It's that whole message of we must reproduce, we must survive. That's because the fuckers that are, you know, living it up need more slaves. So human beings are producing more slaves, championing their slavery, and sending their newborn slaves off out into the world to serve the masters. It's fucking Stockholm Syndrome to the depths, honestly.
Yeah.
I know.
And I'm not even wondering, I was like, what if everybody just stopped fucking?
Aye.
Reproducing? What then? I'm curious to know what happens then.
Fuck the system, we're all just going to stay here, we're going to look out for each other, we're going to fix the roads ourselves, and fuck you, away you go, you're getting fuck all. You know, we don't need money. There's no money that fixes anything. It's human beings and their blood, sweat and fucking tears. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Base it on work. And I've been actually talking about to my family about it, even though they think very differently. I was like, it would be to everyone's benefit if the whole not the whole thing, but if at least it was possible to base things on work instead of money, because, for example, if you apply that to a house, the house would most likely be so properly built, because the people that build it don't want to rebuild it the next fucking year, because they're like, fucking hell, I don't want to do that again. That's next year.
That for me is work. What is work? Well, making the nest and getting the supplies that's required. That's it. That's work. That's the only work I want to partake in.
Yeah.
You know?
Building stuff to make this experience more comfortable.
Exactly. Alleviate stress, to make life better. I mean, if we're going to contribute to that, fine. But this is an illusion that I think people think's actually happening. And I'm saying, well, have a look round about you. Do you see the benefits of this idea? I don't. I just see it getting worse. As you say, taking away a wee area of a useless playpen for children that does nothing for them. Take that away and we'll put some hoosies there. Oh yes, aren't we at the cutting edge? Fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see the same thing in war. In war, like really great mechanical and like advances, like really good material. It lasts long. It's strong, and these days it's like fucking hell. You're lucky if your car lasts 5 years, and it's all we'll just lease the car. And you know,
that's it. It just feeds into the perpetual industry, and that's the game that's being played. People are just perpetuating industry, and that's it. You know, so things are made to break, things are made to wear because it perpetuates it. Same as a car. Oh, well, we make it fallible, and then we project So you've got this projection of, well, we'll get £15,000 for the car, so there's a profit to be made there, but then we've got a projection sheet of the car's life and an expectancy of servicing, wear and tear, yada yada, so you can double that figure instantly.
Aye.
You know?
Aye.
So that's to the benefit of this system and people wanting it, you know?
Now by saving on production, save $5 on each car, and you'll, man, if you produce 16 million of them,
Exactly.
you'll save a lot of money.
It's that attitude. It's, you know, I liked the old guy. What do you call him? I can't remember his name now. It was the founder of the Venus Project, and that was his attitude. You know, well, we've got the resources, we have the skills, make it and give it to people. I mean, what's the fucking problem? You know?
Yeah, and I've been thinking about it for such a long time. I was like, if you build a company and you're like, oh, let's make light bulbs, and you know, you build the factories and the whole shebang, and then if you made those light bulbs like fucking properly, and they would burn for, I don't know, 50 years. If they were properly made, you basically, you know, at some point everybody is going to have a light bulb that works for 50 years.
Exactly.
And then the factory will be empty.
Huh?
And I think that's the problem they don't want to have.
Exactly.
But then I'm thinking, what if you make the factories modular? So you can be like, if one thing is done being produced, rebuild it or just convert it to make something else.
Huh?
And keep doing that.
Oh.
You don't have to build a new fucking factory in somewhere else.
Again, it's share the information, allow people to have access to it so that they can make it themselves.
Even better.
Exactly. You know, so again, it's this harbouring and holding and trying to own information, resources, this, that, and the other. People are trying to control it and hold it as theirs and dictate who gets
patents, yeah.
Exactly.
US patents, oh man,
Exactly.
a big fucking list of them.
Aye.
Even some, they tried to get patents on simple things, and just to have that sole right to produce it, and then no competition, you know, nobody else is like, okay, you know, let's take that concept, improve it, like, oh no, you can't do that because it's patent.
Exactly. It's back to the narcissism again. It's back to that point I made. Well, if we're part of the infinite and the eternal, then any of these things that you think you're creating, where are you getting that right to have ownership over? Because you never created any of this. So
same with music.
Same with the music. It's mine. I made it. I have copyright ownership. What? What the fuck are you talking about? You know?
Yeah, I used to think that when you go to like a festival and there's like these cover bands, you know, the cover bands, they play the, you know, songs, Metallica, you know, name it, whatever. And I always used to think, oh, they're just playing someone else's song.
Aye.
But now I'm like, hold on a second.
Aye.
They're just playing what somebody else has discovered.
Yeah.
And it's not really their song.
Exactly.
It's just you know, a specific rhythm or order, and you know, they're just playing that.
But that's the thing. They never gave rise to that potential. You know, that's like assuming that they're some sort of god figure. You know, well, it gets a wee bit conceited, a wee bit fucking up your own ass, wind your neck in a wee bit and get a bit humble. You know, what do you actually own? Because as far as I'm concerned, you never created this, you know, or it's, you know, infinite potential or any of that stuff. So where do you get the act of ownership? Where does that come? You know?
Yeah, probably ego.
Aye. That's again, get back to the evil thing. I can identify that and say, well, that's a wee bit evil, if you like, because it's destructive. Because what happens? You get corruption, you know, you get somebody harbouring it, so not everybody gets access to it, particularly, as you say, with patents that are beneficial to the whole, that would benefit everybody else, but they're being kept from us.
Yeah.
It's fucking wrong, you know?
Aye.
So... Aye.
Yeah, I went out of points there.
That's all right, mate. Cheers. Appreciate the wee chat.
Alright.
Good
Yeah, I
stuff.
think I'll go off and go to bed.
No worries, mate.
Alright.
Take care of
Okay,
yourself.
cheers.
You too, bud. See you soon.
Alright.
Right. What's this? Great video. Pull of gravity, pseudoscience, apply pressure creates motion. Well, thank you very much, Kim. Right. What will we do? We'll have, what time are we on? We'll have a wee mad 20 minutes. I'll post into the chat box, see how that goes. Before I post it in, I'll just have a wee look at what people are saying. So I've not done any attention on the chat box to see what people have been discussing, if it's anything in relevance to what I've been talking about here.